Thanks, Imran. So welcome everyone to this evening's webinar, and thank you very much to CPSS for hosting the webinar for us to be able to try and speak to community pharmacy colleagues within the South East. We wanted to just be able to support contractors within the South East with expressions of interest, any questions and answers you might have, and also to introduce you to some of the education providers that you might want to consider using if you do put in an expression of interest and are successful in getting a place. So we're going to try and get through this evening's webinar as promptly as we can because we do have a lot to get through. So if I could just ask if you aren't speaking that your mic is muted, just so we can avoid any background noise and make sure that you're aware of cameras. Like I said, we are recording. If you do have any questions throughout the session, if you could utilise raising your hand or popping a question into the chat function, and the team will help pick up questions as we go along. We will share a copy of the slide deck afterwards and the recording. So we will just move on. So the things we're going to cover today is a quick introduction around us and the team within South East School of Pharmacy, give a very brief overview of what the offer is for the community pharmacy. Sorry, somebody's just not on mute. Sorry, thank you. What the offer is for the Community Pharmacy Technician Apprenticeship Programme, which we're calling the CP-TAP for quick reference. You'll also hear from colleagues within Bradford Buttercup Schools of Pharmacy and UEA, so University of East Anglia. And when we get to the slides, I'll explain why we've invited these four. We'll give you some advice on completing your expressions of interest and then hopefully have an opportunity for any Q&A at the end. So a quick introduction as to who we are in the team. So we are the South East School of Pharmacy, and we've got quite a large regional footprint covering 6 of the integrated care systems. So as you can see on the screen, we've got Buckinghamshire, Oxfordshire, Berkshire, Bob, the Frimley, Hampshire Isle of Wight, Kent and Medway, Surrey Heartlands and Sussex Health and Care Partnerships. So quite a large geographical region, and thankfully we've got some really great Community Pharmacy England colleagues supporting each of those systems as well. Within the team, within the pharmacy technician team within the School of Pharmacy, my name is Becky. I'm the pharmacy technician lead, looking after everything pharmacy technicians through from pre-reg, post-reg and the pharmacy support staff as well. And I'm very lucky to have 3 programme facilitators as part of the team, and I've got 2 on the call this evening. So we've got Jenny and Mahala on the call. Liv unfortunately couldn't join us, and they really support kind of that day-to-day engagement support and linking in with the systems, and they are responsible for individual ICBs. So what is it that NHS England are offering regarding to funding? So with the CP-TAP programme, we are offering a training contribution of £15,053 per trainee per year for the 2 years that it will take to train a PTPT. The PTPT is a pre-registration trainee pharmacy technician. That 2-year programme must meet the GPHC's IUT standards for pharmacy technicians as well as the NHS England education framework. And that contribution is really to support that in the workplace training that PTPT will need to be able to complete that 2-year programme. This is separate to any apprenticeship levy that you might be able to access to pay for the education costs. There are separate national webinars that are being held to be able to explain more of this, but just as a really brief overview, that is what we're providing as NHS England. If you would like to consider applying for funding, you do need to complete an expression of interest, which is an online application form. The window for that application opened last Monday on the 23rd, and it will close at 1 minute to midnight next Sunday, the 13th of October. So it's open for a 3-week period, about a week and a half left to do it. The webinars that we've been holding, so we have held 2 already. One was last Friday, one was on Sunday. We've got 2 more webinars to run. We've got one at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and then next Tuesday at 7 p.m. we've got our last webinar. And those 2 webinars remaining will really go into lots more detail around what is being offered, what is expected as you as contractors, supervision, the education requirements, lots more detail around the education, the expressions of interest, and any other questions that you might have. But within the Southeast, we really wanted to be able to have this opportunity to be able to engage with you, to be able to help you with that kind of next step. So if after today we haven't answered your question, or if you think of any others, please don't hesitate to reach out to us in the team, and we've got our email address there, and we can be able to get back to you and ask any questions. So I was going to pause and see if anyone had any questions before we move into the education provider slide. I can see that there isn't anything in the chat at the moment, I don't think. But does anyone have any questions on the call? No, nothing so far. Perfect. I will move on to then allowing the education providers to give an overview of the programme that they deliver as PGPT. But just to kind of caveat, the reason why we only have these 4 providers on the call is because they form part of the Salisbury Foundation NHS Trust high level framework for apprenticeships, and therefore they've kind of gone through a quality kind of process to be on that high level framework. We are not saying that these are the only providers that you could use. There are other providers that might provide them locally or nationally, and you're welcome to utilise whichever provider you think is most suited for you, your organisation and your potential P2P, as long as you do consider that the requirement is that you utilise the apprenticeship route for which these 4 providers offer. So we're not saying that these are the 4, that you have to use one of these, that there are others available, but these 4 have gone through kind of additional kind of quality monitoring, and therefore we always kind of recommend the 4 that we're going to hear from. So I'm going to hand over to Bradford and Sam and Zoe to hear from them.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Perfect, thank you. Okay, thank you for joining us this evening. We've come from Bradford College. We are one of the largest providers for pharmacy courses. My name's Zoe Corcoran and I'm the head of School of Pharmacy, Bradford College, and with me today is Sam Bradshaw, the Pharmacy Skills Lead. On screen there, you can see her. So you may or may not know that pharmacists, we've been going for quite a long time, nearly 100 years actually at Bradford College. The actual college has been going for 185 years. Sam and myself probably today feel like we've been there for a lot of them years, but we haven't. We've been there for about 10 around about 10 years. So pharmacy provision's quite large. So we are leading providers for online and e-learning, and we provide our pharmacy courses using these ways to deliver the course. So we help a lot of businesses in succeeding, and we have a lot of businesses, pharmacy businesses, who join us to deliver the course for them and for us to be able to liaise with them and support them to get students through the qualification. In addition to that, we are an award-winning college, but we also are a Microsoft Innovation College with lots and lots of us being qualified Microsoft educators as well. Thanks, Sam, for popping that in. So I'm here today. I'm the one at the top left there, so you might not recognise me from that picture. So I'm Zoe Corcoran, and as I've mentioned, I'm the head of school. With me today is Sam. Sam's your know-it-all for the skills side, and she manages all the skills side of the level 2 and level 3 course for us. And in addition, who's not joining us today is Karen Piotra. So Karen is our Special Projects Officer. And if you want help with any enrolment information or paperwork documents, then she's the person to contact. And she will have a call with you and go through actually filling in application forms and tell you everything that we need to be able to enrol your students with us. Over to you, Sam.
Okay, so here is an example of the possible progression route through the qualifications with us. We can start off with the level 2 qualification. An important point to note is that the level 2 non-apprenticeship consists of 4 mandatory units and 1 optional unit. Sometimes this can be preferable to employers, as someone who is based in aseptics is not necessarily required to undertake the dispensing unit as part of the qualification. They're also not required to complete endpoint assessment, 20% off the job, and the knowledge, skills and behaviours. So like I say, it's just a bit of a visual route of progression through our qualifications. So these are just a few of the reasons why you should choose us. So obviously we're on the Salisbury framework. We offer 24/7 access to the e-learning system and lots of other reasons, as you can see on there. Obviously the slides are going to be available afterwards. Okay. And if that wasn't enough, there's just a few more reasons there. We've also just had the Microsoft, what's the word, Zoe?
We've got the Showcase College now, so it's behind our head, Sam.
Yeah, perfect.
There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. And if we move on to the next one, so the relationships are triangulated between us, the learner, and the employer. Using a triangulated approach ensures that trainees who may require additional support are identified and supported early to give them the opportunity to resolve any issues before they become TRAS learners.
Okay, so this is just a little bit of an overview of the delivery model, because obviously we haven't got much time this evening, but it just gives you a very quick snapshot of how we deliver our course and some of the main, I guess, unique selling points of the course. So the first one on the left there is that we do deliver 6 hours minimum teaching every single week, term time, and that is through live teaching with qualified teachers. All our staff are qualified as a teacher and a healthcare professional registered with the GPHC, or teachers in training. We have 2 teachers in every classroom teaching and supporting your learners. So when they come to us, in terms of knowledge and skills, they are in really, really good hands, and people are trained and qualified to deliver that training. So down the left side is more to do with the knowledge side. On the right is the skills, and in terms of skills support, we use the Accordia portfolio, which is brilliant. We all love that. And this is managed by Sam's team, and they are run by a large team of qualified assessors and internal verifiers. So again, everyone is qualified to do what they're doing and also registered with the GPHC. The team overall, we've got 45 staff now, so it's really quite a large vision, providing from level 2 to level 4. And all of us GPHC registered, lots of us teachers, assessors, IVs, and there to support your staff. In addition to half the team, roughly half the team are pharmacists and half the team are pharmacy technicians, all with specific areas of work to enable them to be able to deliver the appropriate parts of the course that they're doing, because they've got experience in that in the workplace previously. So in terms of knowledge delivery, I've mentioned the 6 hours live teaching. There is actually another 45 minutes that is optional for students to go in, drop in sessions if they need a bit of help with assignments, anything like that. And there's also a skills session that Sam will mention, I think, in a second, that we have each week as well. So it's a full structured timetable. So before your students come to us, we'll send you a whole timetable for 2 years of exactly what your student's going to do each single week for 2 years. And we work on a 36-week academic calendar. So it's 36 weeks, your students come to us. The benefit of that is that they are our problem, and that's why a lot of people like to use Bradford College, because when they come to us, we look after them and we will report to you as the employer if anything's not as it should be, and we will work with you to make sure that we get that student on track or keep them on track should that be required. So we are an academic college, we're an FE college, so we do all the things that you would expect from a college or a school. So we do attendance monitoring, we monitor that. I've just done some stats today, and We're 99.4% on attendance. It's really, really high attendance, and we do monitor that, and we report if somebody doesn't attend as well to employers at real time, so you know that person's not in that class at that point that they should be. So we work really, really hard to make sure that we really keep you in touch with what your students are doing, but we take control of that for you. Over to you, Sam.
So as you can see, here's the 5 skills units for the level 3 qualification. So if they're an apprentice, they're also required to undertake the knowledge, skills and behaviours, 20% off the job, and the employment assessment. We also manage the 12 weekly apprenticeship reviews as well, and they're completed through Ecordia by the assessors, so they are supported very well through that process, because the assessors obviously have the knowledge of the qualification and workplace processes. We provide an allocated college assessor per learner throughout the 2-year qualification. So not kind of chopping and changing assessors and people dipping in and out. They have that allocated college assessor who will support them, and that is kind of their main person of contact. We do also have mandatory skill sessions at the start of the day, as Zoe mentioned earlier, from 8:30 till 9 o'clock, where they can come and ask questions, and also we provide some support sessions on various different parts of the qualification as well. Direct observations for Unit 8 can be provided by the college as well if required, but if you have workplace assessors, you may prefer to do that by yourself, but again we can kind of support you with that process. And we also offer the AVA assessor qualification and the IQA qualification as well, should you wish to train up as an assessor or an IV to support your students in the workplace. We also provide the full assessment and IV process for all learners. The accuracy checking part of the qualification. So this is the part in Unit 8 which covers the process, the technical skills and the knowledge to be able to assemble and check dispensed medicines and products, and it also deals with error management and reporting.
Okay, so to just go over some of the entry criteria that we would expect for all our learners, this is a requirement, there's no kind of swaying from it. There's a reason for that. It's because then they've got a really good chance of succeeding, because they've got the right entry criteria to come into the course, to do the level of course that we're delivering. So it's a maths, English and science at grade 4 or C in old money for us older ones, or a functional skills level 2 for English and maths. The science, there is an agreement between the GPHC and Pearson that we can actually screen students for the science. So if you've got a pharmacy assistant, for example, who's got English and maths but they haven't got the science, we can screen them for science, and if they pass that, then we can take that as an acceptable adjustment to science. So the science, if they want to do the screening, or you need them to do the screening, then we'll give you further guidance on how we would go about and do that for you. Okay, as I've mentioned, we're a large FE college based in Bradford. So we have all the things that you would expect of a school or a college. So all of the support things that you would expect. So we have a really large SEND team who are really brilliant at supporting and providing learning support for all of our learners with any SEND kind of diagnosis. We also have support for any learners in difficulty, and we do quite often see with Sam's team, and we will make sure that oh, did I? Right, am I back? Right. Okay, so I'll start again. So yeah, we do provide support for learners. As I mentioned, we're a large FE college. We do have a SEND team who provide learning support agreements for our learners, and they provide that to us and give us guidance on how to support them learners. We've got, as you would expect, a mental health and wellbeing support team, and SAM team and my own team, we provide one-to-one support. So if they need extra support with the skills, one of Sam's assessors would sit with them, or Sam. And if they needed more academic support, then either myself or one of my team would sit with the learner. We sit quite a lot with employers as well. So we've got lots and lots of experience, and as I mentioned earlier, we're all trained to do the job that we're doing, as well as being pharmacy professionals. We've all come from practice in some way, and then kind of developed into this dual profession that we have. We do stretch and challenge learners, so we appreciate some learners come, and we have a huge range of learners, some with lots of pharmacy experience, some with none, and also some 16-year-olds and some 50-year-olds. So some people along them lines need stretching and challenging, maybe have more experience than others in that classroom, and that's the way that we would do that. So we would stretch and challenge anybody that needs to get the absolute best out of that learner, and make sure they get the full benefit of the course. And we do have customized our platforms that we use. So Microsoft Teams and Ecordia can be customized for particular learners should they require that due to additional needs or preferences.
So just a little bit on our endpoint assessment process. So it is a very streamlined process. We work very closely with Pearson and the GPHC. For all learners that complete on time, the process is very timely, ensuring that the learners are certificated and registered promptly. It takes approximately 5 working days for Pearson to process the endpoint assessment, and we have arranged that they will electronically notify the GPHC. So it is a very, very quick process.
Okay, and just a very quick snapshot, a very small amount of comments from our employers. Sam and myself sit with a lot of employers, and a lot of our business is repeat business because the employers are happy with the service, the learners succeed, and you know, we make sure that they enjoy the course as well. Obviously, the most important thing is the learners enjoy the course, and they do. So we tend to get a lot of repeat. Well, we get all of the repeat business. People tend to come back year on year on year. So that's Bradford College, and I hope that that's been quite informative. Any questions?
Thanks, Em and Zoe. So just for time purposes, because we are already overrunning, if I could just leave questions to the chat, and then if there's any particular ones at the end, we'll try and pick them up, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. William Buttercup, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Hi. Have you got the take control function at the top that you can take the slides?
I will just have a look now.
Oh, somebody stopped sharing. But it's fine. I need to reshare.
Oh, right. Okay. I did see it for a second.
That's fine. Somebody took them down. Let me just get back to your slide. Okay. There you go. So have you got this function? Yep, perfect.
Yeah, that's right. I've got that function now. That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll try my best to give you some time back as well if we can get through this relatively quickly for you. So thank you very much, firstly, for having us. And I'll talk to you a little bit about the Buttercups program that we offer. So a little bit about Buttercups first, for those of you that might be unfamiliar with us. We're the largest independent training pharmacy provider in the UK, so it's a bit of a mouthful, but important to say. We're rated good by Ofsted. We have over 35 years of experience in delivering pharmacy training. We're founded by a pharmacist, and I'm sure those of you that are familiar with Buttercups already will know that we have a team of very, very passionate pharmacists and pharmacy technicians as our tutors, who not only as healthcare professionals and registered professionals, but they're passionate about teaching as well. And that shines through in the way that we deliver our courses. As was mentioned earlier, obviously we're on the Salisbury contract, so I won't go over this again. We offer flexible individual training plans. So this is where we can adapt based on the learner's environments and their prior knowledge and skills. And they'll have their own individual training plan, which has been customised where appropriate to their environment and their learning needs. We offer year-round enrolments, so we don't have set intakes. You can enrol on any day of the year. Obviously, for this particular funding, there'll be a deadline to enrol, so we'll work with our clients and with our employers to ensure that we're meeting those. Throughout other times of the year, as I say, we can enrol on any day. We have no day release or travel required for our apprenticeship, so 100% of the off-the-job training can be completed from the workplace, and we'll work with both the learner, workplace training supervisor and employer to ensure that the activities are appropriate for their workplace. We offer a blended learning model. It's probably a term that you hear lots tonight, so I'll go into a little bit more detail about what the Buttercup's blended learning model looks like shortly. We have extensive learner support, as you would expect from a large training provider. We have the infrastructure in place to be able to allocate specific teams to those different areas. And from an employee point of view, we offer real-time progress tracking on our bespoke Beehive platform. So that's both where the learner will complete their learning and also where the employer can track progress. So a little bit about awards and accreditations. As I mentioned, we're an Ofsted Good provider. We're on the Salisbury contract. We have direct accreditation with the GPHC, so we have full control over our learning content. Saw a few of you at the C&D Awards the other week. Really proud to have picked up the Training and Development Award there, so that's our latest and very proud achievement. And earlier in the year, we also won the Healthcare Training Provider of the Year from Global Health Pharma. So our pharmacy technician training program itself and our apprenticeship pathway, I won't go into too much detail because as it's a bit of a Ronseal moment, the pharmacy technician training program, it does what it says in the tin, and it provides the training and allows people to register as pharmacy technicians with the GPHC. So therefore it meets all of the learning outcomes in the GPHC's initial education training standards for pharmacy technicians, and also meets the requirements of the apprenticeship, which is the 10 duties for pharmacy technicians outlined within the apprenticeship standard. Accuracy checking, knowledge and competency is included. We'll select an accuracy checking training plan as a requirement for this funding, and that's included at no extra cost. So you'll see on the screen there, and the slides will be circulated afterwards, a bit of a snapshot of a summary of the details for the course. So it's a level 3 direct accreditation with the GPHC, 24-month program inclusive of endpoint assessment. So you'll know, you might know that with some apprenticeships there's an extra time added on for endpoint assessments, and we can include that within the 24 months. So perfect if people are on a fixed term contract. The levy band for the apprenticeship is £8,000, and for non-levy payers, the employer contribution will be £400, or we can facilitate levy transfer, and we have a series of partners that are willing to transfer levy funds to be able to effectively fully fund this for those non-apprenticeship levy payers. So I mentioned a bit about the Buttercup's blended learning model. You'll see a list there towards the top of the slide of the different methods that we use in order to teach, and we find that we can adapt these. When I say we have these adaptable training plans, this also goes for the way that learners like to learn, because we know that everyone learns in different ways, and if a learner's struggling with any particular type, we can be flexible and we can adapt to get them to learn in the way that's best for them, and be as flexible as possible, really, while still ensuring that we meet all the learning outcomes within the apprenticeship standard. I also mentioned earlier there's no day release or travel required for our apprenticeship, so 100% of the off-the-job training can be completed from the workplace within those paid working hours, which means that there's no kind of days out, no trips out, and you're not going to necessarily lose a staff member for a full day, unless that's something that you wanted to do, in terms of if you wanted to kind of front load all of their off-the-job training, for example, at a particular time of the week, you can. Otherwise, our model allows them to kind of weave it in and out of the working week so they can plan accordingly. And our allocated tutors will work with our learners to ensure that they can schedule effectively. I mentioned that we have flexible individual learning individual training plans, so we can we'll conduct a skills scan at the start of the course. We'll look at knowledge, skills and behaviours in relation to the learning outcomes of the course, and adapt the programme accordingly. So if they already have knowledge in some areas, we can reduce the teaching in those areas. If they require more support, we can add additional teaching. And we have an extensive support network, as I mentioned, allocated tutors for each learner. We also have a team of support tutors, so should the tutor be unavailable for any reason, if they're on holiday, if they're off sick, our team of support tutors can support in those times. We also have dedicated teams for learner support, safeguarding and welfare, pastoral care, as you might expect for a programme like this, also specialists in additional learning support. And one of the key ones is that we have an in-house functional skills team. So we don't ask that learners necessarily need to have those formal qualifications in maths, English, science before they enrol. We run screening courses for our learners to check their current level of knowledge. And if they don't meet those requirements or don't have the formal qualifications, we can add functional skills courses alongside. So it doesn't act as a barrier to entry. They can still enrol, and then we front load that learning to the first 6 months of the course to ensure that they can almost complete those quickly. The requirement is that they need to complete them by Gateway, but we work hard to ensure that they can complete those in the earlier stages of the course. So it doesn't act as a barrier to entry, and they can continue onto the course, because as we all know, you get some people that are just made for these roles, and it's a shame that there are those barriers in place. So support for employers. So when choosing Buttercups, employers can benefit from support with the expressions of interest. So we have quite a lot of experience with this anyway, through NHS England's funding, or previously HEE's funding, and delivering PT training under Workforce Expansion Project. So we can offer support with the expressions of interest and funding applications. We can offer recruitment support. So we can work with you with job adverts, and if you're looking to source candidates, we can take all those, screen for eligibility. If you are recruiting for the roles, obviously it may be that you already have people already in post who'll be going forward, in which case we'll just work straight with you straight away on the timelines to ensure we can look at timely enrolment for you. I mentioned earlier, accuracy checking, knowledge and competencies included free of charge, or with no additional charge, I should say. And you can learn with an award-winning and industry-leading training provider by choosing Buttercups. So lastly, just going to speak briefly about our onboarding process. So as I say, we accept enrolments all year round, but for obviously for this funding specifically, we'll work with you to ensure that we can get the enrolment process ready and all the learners enrolled before the deadline. We offer support with expressions of interest, recruitment, and working to those deadlines, as I mentioned. There are two parts to the onboarding process. So the learner onboarding and what we refer to as the Workplace Training Supervisor, or WTS. And each of those parts of the onboarding is a three-stage process. So we give bite-sized forms so they can work through it steadily, essentially, and we work with them on those timelines. So hopefully that's within our 10 minutes, and if we do have any time, as I say, we can open it up for questions, but otherwise, obviously, if you wanted to hold any or save them for the chat, that's absolutely fine. So what's left to say is, again, thank you for listening, and I hope it gives you a nice overview of what we do. Thank you.
Thanks very much, William. Yeah, we'll just try and keep questions to the end or the chat, if that's all right, just to keep everyone moving along.
Yeah,
Jamie?
no problem at all.
Thanks, William. Just might need to squeeze for a couple more.
Thank you, Becky, and thanks for having us. Can you just confirm? Can you see my slides on the screen? Okay, now.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Fantastic. So yeah, thank you very much for having us. So my name's Jamie. I'm the Operations Director at Skills for Pharmacy. So I'm going to plan to take you through our programme, who we are. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's different with us as a training provider, to those of you that you've heard from so far today, and some of the logistical support as well that we'll be providing on this project this year. I'm also joined by Amajit, who's our Managing Director. Amajit's also a community pharmacy contractor as well, so it's nice to get that unique perspective in this presentation today as well. So just a little bit about us as a training provider. So we're one of the largest providers of pharmacy education and training in the country. We're a pharmacy only training provider. We are directly accredited by the GPHC, similar to what Will just mentioned there from Buttercups. And we're also a good training provider with outstanding features. And we're in the top 1% in the country that's been given an outstanding rating for behaviours and attitudes for their apprentices. So we have coverage nationally across England. We have 1,000 learners on our apprenticeship programmes in England. We have a team of over 35 tutors, of which we have a number of subject specialists to support on bespoke units and community pharmacy specialists. We have a model of tutor-led live delivery, so online learning sessions delivered by pharmacists and pharmacy technicians, all specialists in their trade. With that, though, we also have the flexibility in our delivery. So we don't mandate that learners have to be trained on a certain day or a certain time, but you can have flexibility as the employer to select when that fits around your business. All we ask is that you release learners for those live online sessions at a time that's convenient to you, and you select that at the front end of the programme. We also have enrolment points every month and throughout the year, a very fast turnaround of around 5 days. So we've been supporting across this PTPT project for a number of years in different guises, right up until the deadline for enrolments, to be able to support learners to onboard effectively. And similarly to some of the other training providers on the call, we have a complementary recruitment support service as well that can support to onboard new trainees into these positions. And unique to us, which you'll hear from me in a moment, is we also have a talent bank of trained individuals for our skills bootcamp programs ready to deploy into these PTPT positions. So that tells you a little bit about us as a training provider. I'll just throw over to Amajit if you'd like to add anything else at this stage.
Yeah, I'm just going to go off slightly off tangent. First of all, I want to thank everyone for inviting us on today, but particularly my fellow contractors, my fellow pharmacists, especially this particular week as we're on the eve of the NHS flu rollout. And I've looked at my pharmacies and we are chocker. So to spend valuable time here tonight is much appreciated. However, I urge you, to all the contractors and all the pharmacists that are on here tonight and those that are watching this webinar, I urge you to apply. I urge you. The £30,000 over 2 years that will go towards training and the development of skills mix in your pharmacy will hold you in good stead. This could actually be the difference. We are at the tipping edge in community pharmacy. And I know I'm taking my training hat off over here and putting my community pharmacist contractor hat on over here. But this really is a pivotal time for pharmacy and we must apply. For full transparency, the last 2 years I have applied and I've been successful. So I have PTPTs within my pharmacies. The ones that started a few years ago are now ACTs within my pharmacy. So I've seen the skills mix and the change that these programs make. Now, Becky in the top there is being very, very humble about this. We in community pharmacy have never had this level of opportunity as we have now. 500 places is unheard of for community pharmacy. Absolutely unheard of. Genuinely, I'll let Jamie finish up the presentation because I'm wary of time. I could talk about this for hours and how important the skills mix is for us both today and in particular going forward in terms of flu, pharmacy first, pharmacy second and pharmacy third that are due to come out in the next 12 months. Take the opportunity. Have a go. If you're struggling with the form, reach out to us. We'll help you. We were successful the last couple of years. Hopefully we'll be successful again because again, for purposes of full transparency, I will be applying again this year for my pharmacies because it makes a difference. If you care about your pharmacies and you're thinking long term, you must apply for this. We in community pharmacy must make this project work. And the training providers that are on here today, I assure you, are all excellent training providers. I happen to think Skills for Pharmacy is the best, but apply anyway.
Thanks, Amajit. I'm really conscious of your time, Jamie. Sorry, Amajit, I love your passion, but I'm very conscious of Jamie's time here.
Yeah, absolutely no problem. We'll keep it brief anyway for the remainder of the call. I think Will phrased it very well. It's like the Ron Seal moment. I think it does exactly what it says on the tin. So our pharmacy technician program, very similar to those that you've heard today. 24 months inclusive of an endpoint assessment period. We have the monthly enrolments that I've already mentioned and the weekly live tuition tutor-led delivery by a pharmacist or a pharmacy technician, and as you'd expect, leads to GPHC registration. We also don't have any entry requirements in terms of maths, English and science to get onto our programme, and we have our in-house functional skills and additional learning support team to support learners through their journey to accreditation at the end of their programme in their maths, English and science skills. We also have a screening questionnaire at the front end to make sure learners are suitable for the course. As you'd expect, our programme covers all of the GPHC initial education and training requirements and includes accuracy checking as a standard on all of our programmes, irrespective if it's on this programme or any other programmes. Something that we're really proud of and something that separates us from perhaps competitors is the fact that we have really open communication and collaboration with our customers. We have a dedicated account manager for every one of our customers. And the thing that separates us, we think, is that we have, because of this great collaboration and communication with our customers, 100% pass rate for our pharmacy technician programme, and also the highest success rate in the country. 86% of those learners that started their programme are retained and complete their programme with us. Specifically for the pharmacy technician programme and for this funding, we'll be offering 2 opportunities for contractors to speak to our teams, and we will be providing support for your applications, give you some real good insight into how our training links to your on-the-job training plans, and provide you insights into how that potentially will work if you're new to this especially. I'd urge you to take up that opportunity to speak to one of our team to understand how we might be able to support in that endeavour. I mentioned at the front end of the call, something unique to us as a training provider is the fact we offer skills boot camps nationally. So we have a number of dedicated individuals looking to get into the pharmacy sector. So they're already pre-trained with a 10-week course and ready to be deployed into pharmacies across the UK. So if you are successful in securing the funding, we have the talent available to share with you and to get working in your pharmacy as soon as possible. And to couple on top of that, we are also working with a number of levy transfer partners across the country. So not only will you be given an already somewhat trained trainee to come into your pharmacy, but you'll also be supported with free levy transfer and free training through the apprenticeship route for those of you that are non-levy payers. And I'll just end on this this slide. These are the partners that trust us to deliver their training. So we're really proud to work with the largest community pharmacy chains in the country to deliver their training, but also really proud to work with the 400 to 500 community pharmacy chains and small multiples and independents across the country to deliver their training. So it really underpins our fantastic work as an organisation. And there's some contact information there which will be shared with the slides, and we'll also be sharing links to our support sessions for community pharmacy contractors after this call. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Apologies for running a little bit late now. Oh, you stopped the sharing.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll go back. This one. It's so hard, wasn't it? We're so used to sharing and not sharing and stop sharing that we get into the habit of it. Laura, are you ready and poised?
Yep, I'm good to go. And Mel's with us as well.
Perfect, Mel. Nice to see you both. Are you able to take control, Laura? There we go.
I think that's working, yep.
Yep, thank you very much.
Mel?
Right, hi everyone. I'll start off just very briefly by saying good evening and thank you to everybody for turning out tonight. I know it's a pretty rotten night, so we're very lucky we have all online stuff to do. So I'm Melanie Bowden. I am the Director of Pharmacy Technician Education in the at the UEA School of Chemistry, Pharmacy and Pharmacology. It's a very long word. We've just merged with chemistry, so I'm just getting used to saying it instead of just UEA School of Pharmacy, which was much easier. For people that don't know, we are a very established school of pharmacy within the United Kingdom, and we deliver a significant portfolio of courses for both pharmacists and trainee, student pharmacists, and now pharmacy technicians. I think I'm going to hand you over to Laura. Laura is our course director for the PTPT course. So I'm going to leave it up to her to tell you more about what we do for pharmacy technicians.
Thank you, and thanks again for everybody for inviting us. It is really good to see so many people who are looking at sort of developing their staff really, and widening that skill mix. So this is going to be a very whistle-stop tour about our programme. So our course is entitled the Certificate of Higher Education in Pharmacy Technician Practice. It is a bit different from the other programmes out there, as the students graduate from the university with a level 4 qualification, so a certificate which is the equivalent of a first year of a degree. And it is wonderful to welcome all of those students and their families to campus following completion of their programmes. And there's just a few pictures on the screen of some of our learners who have gone through the programme. So it's a 2-year course. We have a fully integrated endpoint assessment, meaning that they can all complete within that 2-year period. We sit on the Salisbury portal and it aligns to that level 3 apprenticeship. And our programme, like so many of the others you've heard about tonight, is a blended learning programme. Just going to move on. Okay. Just to highlight our entry requirements. So obviously they need to be employed by yourselves. And we ask that everybody entering our programme does come in with a minimum of 4 GCSEs at grade C or 4 and above. And that must include English, Maths and a Science. We will accept the level 2 functional skills for English and Maths, or ENIC conversions for our overseas candidates. However, we are firm on those entry requirements, making sure that they are all ready for the demands of the course and not having to do other qualifications alongside. So we have 2 intakes per year, but obviously for the purposes of this contract, we're looking at our February 2025 intake. That is currently open for expressions of interest. So we're encouraging anybody who would like to reserve a place on our programme to get in touch now, and we will then support you with recruitment, or if you've got an existing employee who you're looking to develop, take them through the admissions process. So all of our application deadlines for that cohort need to be in by the 10th of January, and we are starting that programme on the 24th of Feb 2025. So fits in perfectly with the timing of the contract that is coming out. Very well, there we go. So our curriculum is quite different from some of the others. We work in a similar way with our university qualifications, often an integrated spiral curriculum. So all of our learners take 4 30 credit modules over the 2 years, so 2 per year, which run in parallel. And there's a lot of integration throughout. So we're linking the science to the practice all the way through. So where they're learning about medicines and how they work and side effects, they're then putting that into a very patient-centered approach. So thinking about how they're going to communicate all those things to the patients, how they're going to apply that in the workplace. And we're looking to develop them as well-rounded pharmacy professionals, where they're learning in context, so having a good understanding of how the patients fit in, how everything works in their workplaces. So just to highlight some of the areas that we're covering and where they fit into our curriculum. I think one of the key things to mention is final accuracy checking is fully embedded in the 2nd year of the programme, as is required. They will do some dispensing and prove that they're able to dispense accurately in year 1 and then move on to the accuracy checking in year 2. And we've also got all the medicines management skills and further communication skills in the 2nd year of the programme. So the medicines reconciliation, which is again an essential feature is included. And we support them with things like audits and exploring roles of pharmacy technicians, developing transferable skills all the way through the programme. So when we mentioned blended delivery, our programme is a mix of online distance learning, which is designed to be interactive and engaging, links to learning to complete in your workplaces, and then we have study days, which are a mix of online virtual classrooms, again, designed to be interactive and engaging, and we do have a number of in-person or regional events that we deliver. Not everybody has to come to the UEA. It is a beautiful campus, but we are miles away from most of you. So we do have tutors who are expert pharmacists and pharmacy technicians based all around the country, offering regional in-person events where they get to do more of the practical aspects. There'll be forums and obviously the apprenticeship progress reviews where they will work with their advisor and yourselves in the workplace to support them through the programme. Assessment-wise, there's a portfolio with very structured evidence and clear guidance on expectations for everybody. And we do assess our medicines, diseases and health module by assessments, but they can be completed in the workplace. And I think the key thing for us is that we do really want to support the trainees, support the workplace, obviously supporting them with off-the-job learning hours. Everyone will have a named advisor who will work really closely with both the learner and yourselves as their educational supervisor, completing the progress reviews and observations. They're there for feedback and support all the way through the programme, and we do pride ourselves on building a really strong relationship with our learners. But the wider course delivery team are always available. We have a designated email address of which we get really positive feedback from our learners. The team respond usually within a matter of hours during the working week to queries. And being a university, they can access all of the UEA services, albeit remotely, but that is the way everything's set up now. So full access to our wellbeing support, one-to-one counselling and things like that if they need it, IT support, the wide university library, all available electronically. So there is masses of support there for all of our learners. And then we obviously want to support you in the workplace as well. So we offer a comprehensive induction for all of our workplaces and educational supervisors. We provide clear handbooks with guidance on everything that you're going to need to know. But the tutors are there to support you as well, and the wider team. So we'll have regular online catch-ups and provide lots of information. And when it comes to apprenticeship contracting and levy transfers and things like that, we have an expert apprenticeship team at the university who are also available to help and support you with everything like that. So that really is a whistle-stop tour of our programme. I hope I've kept to time, but we always offer to speak to anybody for further information. So if you'd like an informal chat, just drop us an email, and we will also be running a couple of drop-in sessions if anyone would like to pop along to them. I've just realised there's a bit of a clash there in timings, but that was not done deliberately. So yeah, please do get in touch with any questions, and happy to answer any.
Thank you very much, Laura and Mel, and to all the providers that have come along this evening to talk. I appreciate you giving up your time as well on a busy week and new cohorts and lovely weather to be joining. But yeah, I appreciate you all coming. And hopefully those listening will see that there are some similarities, but there are also many differences between the different providers. So it's worth just taking note of how they deliver. If you've got particular intakes, depending on what your PTPT's entry requirements might be. But yeah, happy for us to have any questions if you've got any about providers or apprenticeships, but also to reach out to them individually. And that's what we would encourage you to do, is if you're unsure, to reach out to the providers individually and just have those one-to-one conversations with them. I'm just going to take back the controls. Perfect. So we're just going to do a brief kind of what to do with your expressions of interest. And as I said at the start of the webinar, the national webinars will go into this in more detail, but there's just a few points that we just wanted to make sure that you are clear on. So Jenny's going to help kind of cover some of this.
Okay, apologies, my IT is playing up, so I'm having to look at the other screen to do this. So just to kind of clarify, there are 5 sections in total to the expression of interest. And the kind of main key ones that you need to really think about are sections 4 and 5. So within sections 4 and 5, we have 7 weighted questions, and these questions will be what we score against. So this is what we're really looking for when you're answering the expression of interest. When you are answering those questions, we really want to hear about how you as the workplace are going to be demonstrating those GPHC IET standards. So it's not about how the education providers will provide the training or what excellent kind of training they can provide. It's all about what you can provide within the workplace and all those different kind of learning activities those trainees can do. And that's what we're really kind of keen to hear about. So section 4 looks at kind of your training plan, and we are kind of asking you to demonstrate how you're going to do all the kind of 4 domains of the GPHC IET standards. So those 4 domains that we're looking at are patient-centred care, professionalism, professional knowledge and skills, and collaboration. So we want to kind of hear how you're going to help your trainee to experience that and kind of cover all of those standards. Section 5 is kind of asking about how you are going to support the trainee within the workplace. So it will be looking at kind of your support mechanisms, kind of how you get feedback from your trainee, maybe how they can raise concerns, their well-being. Also, things around kind of equality, diversity, inclusivity, how you kind of manage that within your workplace, how you make sure you treat everyone fairly and listen to everybody. And then the final kind of aspect of that section 5 is also around your kind of educational infrastructure. So what kind of, have you done any training before? Have you trained any pharmacists before? What kind of experience do you have of doing a training programme? And any kind of, if you've got a supervisor there who's had a trainee before, all of those experiences are really, really helpful to your application. But if you haven't done training before, we'd still love you to apply, because you can tell us what you're going to put in place to support that trainee. Have you kind of thought about what training you might need to provide to your supervisors? Who could be those supervisors? So that's the kind of thing that we want to hear about. So it is very much to stress, although we've got these amazing education providers, we want to hear all about what you can provide that trainee and what support will be there for them. Hopefully I've covered everything, Becky.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah. And apologies, I realised I wasn't on mute and then I was coughing, so apologies for that. But yeah, I think that's the thing to stress, isn't it? You've heard everything, what the training providers do. We know what they can do, but we don't know what you as the employers can do. So that's what we really want to hear about. Conscious of time, and we are 1 minute before we're due to finish, but is there anyone on the call that has any questions that we can support with immediately? I'll give you a moment to think about it while I just cover the timelines, just as a reminder. So the expression of interest opened last week, Monday on the 23rd. They'll close at 1 minute to midnight next Sunday on the 13th. We then have a period of time for the regions to evaluate each of those expressions of interest that come in. And so we've got a period from the 15th of October through to the 1st of November. And then we anticipate that we will let successful candidates know about their outcomes on the 4th of November. If there are any regions that might experience any delays due to unforeseen circumstances, we will communicate that. But that is the aim, is that on the 4th of November, we'll let successful employers know. And then there will be then local regional webinars for those that have been successful. And on screen, it does say week commencing the 11th, but within the Southeast, there might be some flex around those dates just because of annual leave within our team. I don't think we can facilitate week commencing the 11th. So potentially we're looking at the moment of doing 1 week commencing of the 4th and week commencing the 18th to make sure that we can support both a daytime and an evening event. And then that allows successful candidates or bids to then have the opportunity from November through to the 28th of February next year to ensure that they have got appropriate candidates or do recruitment, enrol them with their providers, sort out the apprenticeship levy and be able to start on course by the end of February next year. I can't see any questions in the chat. Is anybody that would like to come off mute and ask any questions? A shy little bunch. I conscious with time.